Well, let me just focus this. I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds just so I know for sure that this is live and, okay, we are live. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to MUFC MPB here on YouTube. My name is Brooks and today is Tuesday, the 6th of October. Tuesday, the 6th of February. I don't know why I thought about October. But of course today, as you can see on the screen, it is a very important day in Manchester United's history. It is the anniversary of the Munich air disaster, which happened on February 6th, 1958. There's been a lot of Manchester United players, staff, former staff, people like Sir Alex Ferguson visiting Old Trafford today, along with a lot of fans, just to show their respects to the players that did pass away in that tragic plane crash all those years ago. And it's a shame that this happened to our club, but at the same time, we wouldn't be Manchester United if we didn't have such a setback and if we didn't bounce back in the way we did. Yeah, my camera is not blurry, it's just out of focus and I cannot get it to focus at all. Oh, do you know why? That might help a bit. So that's not blurry. I don't know why it then gets blurry. I'll have to figure that out. But anyway, you can see my face regardless. But yes, today is the anniversary of the Munich air disaster, which did happen on February 6th, 1958. So out of respect for everybody at Manchester United, everybody associated with the club and the players that were involved in the accident, MUFC MPB, along with a lot of other Manchester United related pages, have been tweeting the hashtag Flowers of Manchester, as obviously a lot of people wouldn't have been able to make it to Old Trafford today to pay their respects. So if you guys, could all tweet on Twitter at some point today, hashtag Flowers of Manchester, just so you can let people know that, yeah, we're standing with Manchester. We remember, we'll always remember those players that lost their lives, unfortunately, on that day. But anyway, let's go over the topics that we will be speaking about in today's episode, because it is going to be a bit of a different one. We're not really going to be talking about incoming signings as much. Instead, we're going to be talking about, as you can tell by the title, exits. And I find this quite exciting because as exciting as signing a player is, maybe for some of you might get the same level of excitement if you're getting rid of someone, if you're getting a big lump of cash, if you're getting rid of a player that you don't like, if you're getting rid of a player to make space for a player that you do like, you're still getting rid of them. But there have been a few reported exits, one very, very soon possibly, and the others in the summer. But these do include Varane, Christian Eriksen, and Wan-Bissaka as being the three main ones. So we're going to just delve into those a little bit, but I will answer one question first from MUFC Lad. Hello, MUFC Lad, and why? How are you guys both doing today? Would you upgrade Old Trafford or build a new stadium? I would upgrade Old Trafford. I think there are very few clubs in the world that have such a tie to their stadium. For example, I wasn't a fan of this, and I still am not a fan of this. But when West Ham left Upton Park to go to the Olympic Stadium, don't know. I know they're doing well now, and it's a nice big modern stadium that was originally built for the Olympics. But part of West Ham was the fact that you'd go to the bowling ground and you'd be so close to the pitch, and it was almost like a part of their culture. It was a part of their club. As I said, nice new stadium now, but I just don't feel like it matches West Ham. I don't feel like it is for West Ham. I feel like Old Trafford is Manchester United. Manchester United don't play at Old Trafford. Old Trafford is Manchester United. And I know that there's been some reports that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been exploring options in terms of what he can possibly do to renovate Old Trafford, or would it be a better option to invest the full amount and just build a new stadium altogether, like right next door to the current Old Trafford? But I don't think you can. I think Old Trafford has been there since the very beginning. It's never been knocked down. It's always just been renovated, upgraded, improved. And I think we should just carry it on. I don't think you should sway away from what the history of the club has been about. But do you know what? At the same time, if they did decide to build a new stadium, if it was like an improved, almost exact replica of Old Trafford, but a bit more modernized, obviously bigger, better facilities. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be upset. I would have just preferred if they renovated and upgraded the already standing Old Trafford. But yeah, the answer to your question from me would be I would upgrade Old Trafford instead of just building a new stadium. It would be, first of all, it would be cheaper. And two, as I said, Manchester United, I mean, Old Trafford is Manchester United. So this is something we do really need to be careful about. Because, you know, we could get a new stadium and it just doesn't feel nice. It doesn't feel like you're playing at home. Every home game feels like a bit of an away game. It could feel like that. You never know. So I think we just need to be very careful there. But, of course, let's get on to some of the potential exits. Now, this was reported by the Daily Star. Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr, which I'm sure that's one Ronaldo. I'm sure Ronaldo plays for Al Nassr as well as Talisca, Brozovic, Laporte. Who's their keeper? Is it Mendy? Is their keeper Edouard Mendy, or is that is Edouard Mendy or Bonu? I can't remember who plays in goal. Ospina. David Ospina. Yes, that's the goalkeeper. But, you know, I'd say out of the Saudi Arabian clubs that have invested heavily into the European transfer market, Al Nassr probably have made the wisest signings in terms of the best players. And they look like they're building a very strong team. To be perfectly honest with you, they look like they're building a decent team. Imagine 3 years ago, having a partnership of Varane and Laporte at the back would have been probably one of the better partnerships you'd get in world football. And now they're possibly going to be teammates in Saudi Arabia. I mean, it doesn't look bad to me, but Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr want to sign Raphaël Varane and are willing to offer him a deal worth up to £50 million a year. Varane is expected to leave Manchester United in the summer. Now, I just want to ask you guys in the comments, first of all, would you sell Varane? And second of all, if we were to sell Varane, would you be happy? Would you be upset? Would you be satisfied? Because me personally, I think the time is gone. I think it doesn't matter how many qualities you have as a player, how good you are on the ball, how fast you are, how good in the tackle you are. I think the best quality you can have is your availability. And unfortunately for us and unfortunately for him, his injury record is absolutely horrendous. He just hasn't been able to maintain peak fitness for anything close to long enough. And it does affect us because everybody can say, oh yeah, Anana's been dead, these centre-backs have been dead, these midfielders have been dead. But if you've played football before, you'll know that playing with different people or playing with a different partner or playing with a different fullback or someone in front of you every match is not going to benefit anybody. It doesn't benefit anybody no matter how good you are. You're going into an elite level Premier League game against a team like Arsenal or Man City and you're playing with a back four that you haven't used in 7-8 months. It doesn't make any sense. It's not productive for anybody. So yes, I think now would be the perfect time for Raphaël Varane to leave. If we were able to get a decent sum for him, I cannot tell you. I can't remember if his contract is up in the summer. But if we were able to get a decent amount for him, I would be quite happy because, yeah, of course, I've just seen a comment down there from Stefan Tanakovic. I wouldn't want to sell Varane until we get a couple of suitable replacements. And Minu Enthusiast says, yes, I would sell Varane and bring in Jarrad Branthwaite. Now, Jarrad Branthwaite is someone who we will be talking about. You know what? We'll talk about him now, innit? Because it's just on topic, isn't it? Let me just get the tweet up. So, Everton centre-back Jarrad Branthwaite and Crystal Palace winger Michael Elise are on Manchester United's radar. So we will just focus on Jarrad Branthwaite. As someone who, he doesn't have the most Premier League experience, he doesn't really have the most top elite level experience, but the potential is there. And I think that's someone right there who can fit into Manchester United's system, into the back four, partnering Lisandro Martinez very well, very effectively, very efficiently, and I think they'd go hand in hand together. The last centre-back pairing that we had that went hand in hand together really and truly was Chris Smalling and this, I cannot remember his partner, but it was the Van Gaal season. Was it Bailly? Was it Bailly? Definitely wasn't Lindelof because Mourinho signed him. Definitely wasn't Bailly because Mourinho signed him. Blind. Smalling and Blind. I think... Actually, no, I don't think. Because I know this. We had one of the best, or not the best defensive record in the league. I'm actually just going to search this. Premier League 2014-15. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Daley Blind. I'm just looking at the table now. We finished 4th. So we had the fourth best defensive record in the league, basically. It worked. It was an effective partnership. You had someone there in Daley Blind who was extremely good on the ball. Wasn't the tallest. He wasn't the fastest, but he was able to get around the ground a lot. He was good in the tackle and he was very intelligent. He was also very good at playing between the lines. Playing through the lines, sorry. He could also be deployed at left back and centre defensive midfield. It would remind you of Lisandro Martinez. He's very good on the ball. He's tough in the tackle. He's very intelligent. He's not the tallest. He's not the quickest, but he does get across the ground quite relatively fast. He can also play at CDM and left back, not to mention they're both left-footed. And then you have Chris Smalling, much taller, decent on the ball, but not the best, which is why he would have been dropped from the England squads. I think I just said he's tall. He's very quick. Chris Smalling was very, very quick and good in the tackle. He was a confident player. And I believe he possessed a lot of leadership qualities. There was one time, do you know what? I went to Rio Ferdinand's testimonial game and he was partnering Smalling at the back. And I remember sitting behind the goal, decent amount. It was a decent amount up. And this is the only time I've ever heard a football player talk on the pitch. But the fact I could hear Chris Smalling's voice from about halfway up in the stands, I thought to myself, they actually talk pretty loud. The communication has to be precise, has to be on point, loud, clear. And a lot of people, I guess, didn't rate Chris Smalling. Maybe because he looks like he was maybe a bit introverted or a bit quiet. But when I heard him shout on that pitch, I instantly thought, yeah, that's a proper defender. I know shouting doesn't make you a proper defender, but that's the feeling I got. And obviously I know that footballers talk all the time on the pitch, but that's just the first time I've ever heard a professional footballer in a packed stadium actually talk. But read the comments. My new enthusiast also says, I'm not even joking when I say this, but Jarrad Branthwaite should be the first signing, the absolute must. I agree with you. He is an absolute must. I don't agree that he should be the first signing. I think if we're going to get the deal done, we will get the deal done. I do expect to see transfers, like negotiations, a bit different this summer, because we obviously have a crop of new members of staff, better members of staff. So I do expect to see deals getting done a bit quicker. I don't expect to see us paying as much. I don't expect us to make such a big deal out of stuff going on for 8 weeks. I don't expect to be seeing any of that, and I do expect to see Jarrad Branthwaite play for Manchester United this season. Of course, he has continental experience as well. He was on loan at PSV last season, so he does have experience. He's very, very good. I like him a lot. And he has been playing very well at Everton this season. Of course, they had their 10-point reduction, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I believe they have 8 wins, which would put them, would it be mid-table or something? They're doing very well this season, Everton. Ignore the points reduction. I think they will avoid relegation, but they should be much higher up on the table. And Branthwaite is a massive reason as to why they're doing so well. But yeah, he'd be playing right centre back next to Lisandro Martinez, and I think that could work wonders. I'm a massive fan of this link. Well, it's more than a link. It's like a concrete rumour now. There is interest. Oh, there is genuine interest there. But regarding Aaron Wan-Bissaka, let me just get this up for you guys. I cannot find the tweet. Bear with me. I cannot find the tweet to save my life. But yeah, so anyway, I can't find a tweet to save my life, so we'll just talk about it instead. With Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I just want to get you guys' thoughts on this because I'm so torn. I'm so torn with Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. I spoke about this briefly yesterday, but although by the way, MEFC Lab, we'll talk about Elise in a minute, because it could be conjoined with this. I like Dalot and I love Wan-Bissaka. I can appreciate both of their qualities and I can also understand their deficiencies. But I think this season, even though when Wan-Bissaka has played, he's been playing very well, very consistently. We know what we're going to get with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but Diogo Dalot, I think, has just stepped up a little bit this season. I think if you have, if you want to visualize it, you have the top of the top. You have Trent, and then all the way at the bottom, you have like the worst. I don't know where Dalot would have been in this. Let's just say here, Trent's up here. I think Dalot's getting ever so. I'm not saying he's better than Trent. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is he's just closing the gap ever so slightly. He's improving week in, week out on his decision making, on his ability on the ball, on his decision making on and off the ball, his crossing. He's got a couple of assists this season as well. And yeah, I seen a comment there. My New Enthusiast says Dalot has the mentality. This is something Ronaldo spoke about as well in the interview he had with Piers Morgan. He was asked, is there anybody who you look up to or who you're a fan of that currently play football? And he mentioned Diogo Dalot. He said he has the mentality, he's got the quality, and he's very smart. He's an intelligent footballer. And he's not wrong. We're seeing it here. There was a lot of doubts over whether Dalot was good enough because he was a bit susceptible at the back, but he's really improved on that, and you can see the difference it's making on the pitch. And there's a reason I think we haven't seen Wan-Bissaka in a while, because Dalot is probably the first name on the team sheet at the moment. I think he's that important to the way we play. He allows us to build up from the back quickly, allows us to dominate possession. He drops into, well, he doesn't drop into the midfield. He pushes up into the midfield into a central position. And he's so good on the ball. I think one thing that doesn't get spoken about enough with especially Dalot, but also with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, they both are very, very different physically. Wan-Bissaka's more of like a gangly, leg-reliant player. Like, he has very long legs, the slide tackles, the getting out of sticky situations. Dalot looks like more of a solid footballer, more of a footballer you'd, for example, you know, if you have a kid or if you have someone that you're teaching to play football and you had to show them a video of a footballer, oh, listen, this is a better technique, this is the way you want it. If you could choose between Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Diogo Dalot to show them examples of, you'd choose Dalot because he looks better on the ball. But that's not to say that Wan-Bissaka's bad on the ball. But one thing that does go unnoticed with both of them is their first touch and ability to play 1, 2, 3 touch football in and out of sticky situations. There was a few times, I think it was against Wolves. Well, there was one specific situation against Wolves where Onana pinged the ball to Dalot and it bounces in front of him. Dalot's running back, by the way, bouncing in front of him. He takes it on his chest and it's just done. It's just sorted. The ball's dead and he's just in complete control of it. And I've seen it so many times and I think, rah, like that. Like, I could do that, but he does it all the time. Rarely do you see Dalot take a bad touch. And that's the same with Wan-Bissaka. But, yeah, man, I'd say I'd have to get rid of Wan-Bissaka. And I think using him as a pawn in the deal to get Michael Elise would make sense. And MUFC Lad says, Elise's injury record concerns me. It doesn't concern me, mainly because it's so obvious that he's being mismanaged. He shouldn't be playing as much as he's playing, given he's not fully recovered from his previous injury, and he keeps playing and gets re-injured. Then he comes back too soon because they need him, and then he gets injured again. I think it's not him. It's like, you're not gonna go and play football a month, 3.5 weeks after you done your hamstring. Like, you're gonna wait and you're gonna rehabilitate properly, and you're gonna come back when you're fully fit. He's obviously not been fully fit when he's playing, which is even more of a promising sign because he's doing all of this and he's still running around with little niggles. I think he's a must. He's a must buy. Branthwaite and Elise are both must buys. That's it. First two signings of the window: Michael Olise and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Michael Olise. Did I say Branthwaite or Olise twice? But yeah, Olise and Michael Olise or Jarrad Branthwaite should be the first two signings we make this summer, because there's Premier League proven talent, which I saw which MUFC lad wrote there. You've got Olise on the wing. Just think about this. You've got Højlund up front. You've got Olise on the right and Garnacho on the left. You've got someone on the left who's going to run every single time he gets the ball. 99% of every time he receives the ball, he's going to turn and run at you. And more often than not, he's going to beat you. And he's going to deliver a cross or get a shot in. That's someone there who's got the hunger and the drive to just go at it and at it and at it. He's like a pit bull. He doesn't stop. And then you've got someone on the right. He's deceptively fast, by the way. He's very, very quick across the ground. Very, very good dribbler. He can dribble in and out of your defense, beat you and he's not even looking at you, and then put a pinpoint cross into the box for Højlund, who's going to put his head where some players wouldn't put their feet, just to get the ball in the back of the net. I think, how old is Olise? 22? You've got a 19-year-old on the left, a 22-year-old on the right, and a 21-year-old up front. In 3-4 years, disgusting. With the talent, with the potential that they all possess, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. It has to get done. And Branthwaite, a young defender, Martinez is relatively young, Dallow's relatively young, and Luke Shaw would be the senior player in that back four. But there you have a collection of players who, again, in 3 or 4 years, once they've gelled together, God forbid, injuries ravage them. But if they're able to gel together, build connections, you have what would be one of the better back fours in European football. And I'll say that now. Do what you want, clip it if you want, I don't care. Bring me back in 3 or 4 years, and I'll be saying the same thing. I'll be like, I am right, and you will all say you are right. But I just do have some news here, because I've just been fed this information, and I have noticed someone in the comments talking about it as well. But Bruno Fernandes, Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal are preparing a potentially huge offer for Bruno Fernandes in the summer. I don't care. He's not going. He's not going. He had an offer in January, which was an astronomical offer apparently, and he declined. Bruno Fernandes is Manchester United through and through. He loves Manchester United. Just because he didn't come through the academy, or just because he's not from the local area, it doesn't mean he's any less passionate than any of us. I think Bruno Fernandes exerts the same amount of energy, the same amount of passion, drive, and desire that someone like you guys would. You guys are Manchester United fans, I presume. I'm a diehard Manchester United fan. If I was able to, for 10 minutes to put on that Manchester United shirt and play a game for United, I don't think anybody outworks me, probably apart from Bruno, because that's just the type of player he is. There's a lot of comments here, which I'm going to respond to now, by the way. I'm just reading them. Razwan says, Bruno... Wait, what? Oh, Adam Calvert says Bruno is hit miss, but money talks. For me, Bruno is it like he the thing I always think about when people they diss Bruno, they say this and that, he's petulant. I don't care. He's our captain. He plays every single match. He's never injured, and he produces. He's honestly quite inevitable. But think about this situation. Yes, you don't like Bruno, whatever. He goes for however much he goes for. It doesn't matter. The money doesn't matter. Who are you going to bring in that can do what Bruno does and give you more? Because that's why you'd replace Bruno, right? Because you've got someone there who can do what he does, which is create the most chances out of anybody. So you're going to have to get someone that creates more than him, which is quite literally impossible. You're going to have to get someone who can score as much. You're going to have to get someone who can wear the armband. You're going to have to get someone who can then do other stuff as well. Name one player that we could actually get that can deliver everything that Bruno delivers and then more. And then more. That we could actually get. No, I don't want to hear, oh, yeah, well, let's go and get Bellingham, because we're not going to get him. Someone that we could actually get. And I've seen Mine who say Florian Wirtz. I think he's ungettable. Bayern definitely have first dibs on him. And if it's not Bayern, it would be someone like Chelsea. It would Chelsea. It would be a team like City. You don't go from this Bayern Munich, this Bayer Leverkusen side. You know they're probably going to win the league. You're one of the best young German talents. All of the big clubs want you. Everybody knows that your ceiling will lead you to be one of the best players in the world. I don't think it comes to us, not yet anyway. But yeah, you have to answer my question. Who do you get that can do what Bruno does, and then more? And once you guys think about that, I will look at a few more of these comments. We need a replacement. Okay, this is what I was saying. Razwan says, we need a replacement for Eriksen, ideally De Jong, but that depends on United getting a UCL spot or if Barca don't get into UCL. I personally have given up on De Jong. I would have loved to see Manu and De Jong next to each other. That would have been... Oh, imagine those games, 75% possession. Oh, God, that would have been amazing. But yeah, I've given up on Frankie de Jong, to be honest. We tried, and it's fine. Sometimes you get rejected. Sometimes the gal don't want your number. And I think that was what happened with us. And just move on. Go and get someone else. But yeah, we do need a replacement for Eriksen, who... Yeah, I'll put it on the screen now. If I can bloody find it. Oh my God. Right, there we go. Right. My days. Okay. There we go. So someone here, Razwan says we need a replacement for Christian Eriksen, and we might need a replacement for Christian Eriksen sooner than you think, because Christian Eriksen's time at Manchester United could come to an end this week, and it is Tuesday, so time is ticking, with reports in Turkey claiming he has held secret talks about a move to Galatasaray. I don't know if I like this one, to be honest with you guys. After our transfer window shut, to be holding secret talks with anyone really, I think, I wouldn't say it's disrespectful, but I think it's a bit of a dick move. Like, we can't replace him. We can't replace him until the summer. We're very scared. The midfield is scarce. I don't think he'll go, to be honest with you guys. I think he'll go in the summer. I don't think he'll be allowed to go. I think Erik ten Hag has a bit more sense than to just be like, oh yeah, our window's just shut. Let's just sell someone and not replace him. I think Erik ten Hag's a bit more sensible than that. So I wouldn't expect Christian Eriksen to go this week. However, it is kind of refreshing to know that we could potentially get rid of him in the summer, because it's good. I do like Christian Eriksen. I've always been a fan of him. From when he moved to Tottenham from Ajax, I wanted to sign him. But listen, what happened at the Euros happened at the Euros. He has come back strong. Some might say stronger, but I do feel like you're not going to get the best out of him for his full career now compared to 4 years ago. Do you know what I mean? He does need to go in the summer. He is declining. His energy levels are declining. His inability to put a tackle in, the ease at which players are able to get past him bugs me. That match at the Emirates last season still gets to me. Bukayo Saka's goal, Eriksen, he was like jockeying, but that was it. Like, he just jockeyed, and then when Saka actually made the move, like he just gave up. And that will always stick in my mind, because that was one of the favourite matches that we've played that we've lost. That I always watch the highlights of the match. It was an evening game, the kits, the atmosphere. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, Christian Eriksen could potentially leave for Galatasaray this week. However, I don't think this is something that will happen because we can't replace him. And it would be very silly for us to get rid of a midfielder that can actually do a job for us after our transfer window is closed, leaving us unable to sign anybody else to replace him. It wouldn't make sense. Adam also says, should give Ahmad a chance. I believe we will give Ahmad a chance. I also believe Amari Forson was playing to get minutes in because it was a January transfer window. However, I do believe he's a good footballer. I wouldn't be surprised to see him play a little bit more. But yeah, Ahmad will get games. Would you sell Rashford 90 million? I'm taking that and trying to go for Rodrigo or Real Madrid. Listen, I admire your enthusiasm and I admire your confidence, but this is such a good question. I've been seeing this a lot and this is going to get me excited. What are you guys' thoughts on Rashford? Because yes, it's Rashford. You've got someone there who I know is a very good player. I know what his potential is. I know what he can do. We've seen it. But at the same time, he might not turn up for 2 months. You don't know. Could you get 90 million for Rashford? Because with all the hate and criticism he gets, you think, what? He can't be worth for 90 million. You're looking at 40, 50, 60 max. But then on the other hand, you have the poster boy. You have the Manchester United number 10. You have someone there who's a massive, massive, massive asset to any club that he would be at. Surely you'd be able to get 90 million. Maybe you could even get more from him. How much do you realistically think, like to everybody in the chat, how much do you realistically think we could get for Marcus Rashford? Because I think you could get around 90 to 100 million from him. His age, what he can already do, plus his potential. Also as well, I think he has a very long time left on his contract, which is something you have to take into consideration. This is the one I was looking for. I was just looking for a picture of him. I don't know. I think it's a tricky situation with Marcus Rashford. But don't forget the absolute talent in the under-18s team. Yeah, the under-18s are going crazy. Do you know who I quite like, but I'm not too sure about? Whittaker, the striker. He reminds me a bit of like his stride, the way he kicks the ball, even his haircut. He reminds me of, I'm not saying he's better than him, but he reminds me of Mason Greenwood. He has all of those physical attributes, his body type. As I said, his stride even matches what Greenwood was doing when he was playing for the under-18s. But yeah, the under-18s are doing very well at the moment, and I think give it a couple more years, you'll get a couple of them, 2 or 3 of them coming through to the first team and probably making a difference. Stefan says, on the topic of Wan-Bissaka, at least a swap deal. Now that Palace signed a right back in January, who did Palace sign in January? And I don't think it'd be a swap deal. You'd give them Wan-Bissaka plus probably like 30 million. I'd imagine. What you get like 25 million for Wan-Bissaka plus 30 or 40, or you just activate Elise's release clause, because then once you do that, you can just sprint to him, innit? Florian Wirtz, as I said, I don't think we could get Florian Wirtz. What role can Mason Mount play? I think he could play a number of roles. Do you know what? I'm going to say something which might sound a bit confusing, but it really does make sense in my head. I don't think it's an issue that Mason Mount was signed for all of that money and he hasn't really been playing, regardless of injuries or not. Because it's not Ultimate Team. It's not something where you have R9 up front, you have Van Dijk at the back, Timothy Hernandez at left back. You don't have all of these top of the top, you're going to win everything type of players, and then it's just bronze cards on the bench. This is real life. You have the best team you could possibly get, and then on the bench, yeah, the quality might decrease a little bit, but at the same time, he's not performing very well. We can just replace him with him, and he might actually be even better. And I'm not saying Mason Mount came in to sit on the bench, but everyone's talking about, we got Mainu, Casemiro, and Fernandes in the midfield now. What about Mason Mount? What about Mason Mount? Just do better. Earn your spot in the team. If Bruno Fernandes got dropped for Mason Mount, but he was producing what Bruno Fernandes does and then more. I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be like, oh, what? Put Bruno back on. I'll be like, oh, yeah, cool. Mount's doing better than Bruno. Cool. I just want to win games. I don't care who plays. Look at Man City. Look at their bench half the time. Nobody cares because they win. I think we care so much about these things because we're so up and down and nobody seems to know what's going on. When we lose a game 5-0, but then you have Rashford on the bench or you have Mount on the bench, then someone's like, oh, why didn't you bring on Mount? If we won the treble last season, nobody would care about Mason Mount sitting on the bench or not playing as many games. Nobody would give... No, I wouldn't care because it doesn't matter. We just need to win. Yeah, Razwan says Bruno is irreplaceable at the club. MEFC, Bruno could honestly play at this level until he's 35. He could, and I think he will. Might not be at Manchester United until he's 35 because he's 27 now. So what, another 8 years? But he could definitely play at the top level for a very long time. We should keep an eye on the under-18 team. Harry Amas, future left-back, Jack Fletcher, Shea Lacey. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. The one I'm most excited about there is Shea Lacey. Disgusting player. If you haven't already, definitely go onto YouTube and just look at some highlights. And if you ever get the chance, go and watch Manchester United youth teams. I don't do it anymore. I used to a few times. I went, of course, I went to Old Trafford for the Youth Cup final. But honestly, one of the best days of my life. I love going to Old Trafford and obviously watching the youth winner trophy was actually really, you know what? Yeah, I'm not saying I enjoyed it more than watching the senior team play or if they won like the FA Cup in 2015, but it was up there. But definitely watch a lot of the youth because we have some proper talent in there. Amas as well. We just got him. I can't profess to know much about him, but he does look very good. Jack Fletcher as well is crazy. That's Darren Fletcher's son, and he has two. There's two of them there actually. And yeah, Zayn. Sorry, I said, and yes, Bruno has to go. No way, Zayn, you're getting blocked. Bruno, I'm joking. You're not getting blocked, but Bruno's staying. He's not going. You guys, sorry, I'm really just catching up on his comment. You guys don't think Bruno's good? Like, do you actually not think Bruno's good? Eze doesn't come in to replace Bruno. Eze comes in to challenge for a spot in the team. Bruno is irreplaceable. I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to be a thing. Oh yeah, I want him to leave so you can see how much you're missing, because I support Manchester United and I want us to win. But Bruno Fernandes is irreplaceable, as I said before, and I still haven't seen answers, and I'm gonna assume that's because nobody can give me an answer. Who comes in and matches what Bruno does and gives us more? Because that's why you replace a player, right? To improve on what you already have. Nobody. Someone that we could actually get. Don't say De Bruyne because we can't get him. I'd have him to replace Bruno. Get someone like Neto for right wing. If you want to talk about injury prone, then talk about Neto. Stefan says, Brooks, have you seen the new linking us to Rooney Bargi? That is literally next up. It was next on my agenda. And I have it here, ready for you to go. Manchester United scouted Copenhagen winger Rooney Bargi in their 2-1 defeat against Brøndby on Monday. Bargi scored. He scored against us in the Champions League as well, which I guess it essentially knocked us out. I honestly don't know too much about this guy, although I know he's a very good talent, and he demonstrated it against us. Rooney, though, it did throw me off at the beginning. But I mean, it would be a romantic signing given the name. However, I would prefer an Elise. I would prefer a Nico Williams from Bilbao, not the Nico Williams at Nottingham Forest. But that's just my opinion. I wouldn't be against signing Bargi. It would be exciting. I wouldn't expect him to come in and just start and be all guns blazing from the get-go, but he would definitely be one for the future. The Rashford poster boy doesn't really work outside of England because of the work he does for children. Rashford is a household name across the world. Everybody knows who Rashford is. I don't think some people understand how popular footballers are. Footballers aren't footballers, they are celebrities now. If you're in Europe, that is. when you go over to America, yeah, football might not be their main sport, but they still know some of the big names. They know people like Rashford. They know people like Pogba. They know people, obviously Messi, Ronaldo, all of those guys. They might not know Phil Foden. They might not know Josko Gvardiol, but they will definitely know a Rashford. Rashford is an international name. He is definitely he's a Nike athlete. If he was to go to a Nike a team that's sponsored by Nike, geez, that would be the amount of money they could make from that just by having him there. Obviously, when you sign a player, you're signing them for what they can do on the pitch, how they can help you win trophies or be as successful as possible. But obviously, other stuff does come into consideration as well. And Rashford is a massive, massive asset to anybody, especially a club that is sponsored by Nike or would be sponsored by Nike. Razwan says 80 to 90 million. I think that's a good shout for what we could get for Marcus Rashford. Surely the only interest in Rashford would be PSG and Saudi. Let's just leave Saudi off there. Rashford, I don't think would go to Saudi. Yeah, PSG. He's been linked to PSG quite a few times. He'd be massive. The PSG that have the Jordan logo on their kit. You're telling me Rashford wouldn't be massive there? Since he's on high wages, he'd be 60 max. He's got long left in his contract though, and I don't feel like he'd take. What is he? He's at what, 350? 350 a week, I think, at the moment, maybe. You'd probably get that down to about 275 plus incentives, because obviously Manchester United have had a bad history of giving out weird contracts to people that are just way too much. How much would you want for Greenwood in the summer? 80. Munoz, I don't know anything about Munoz. Educate me. Big Ron, yes, Anton, big up, Big Ron. I'm not gonna lie, it's always exciting to see Big Ron in the chat. I absolutely love the amount deal we made this year. You guys will understand how good he will be. Listen, man. People think Mount is a waste man. They think he's a joke man. He's a very, very good footballer. You don't do all of what he's done. He's won the Champions League. He's been starting for England, the international. You don't do all of that just because you're Mason Mount or just because you have a pretty face. Like, you do all of that because you're a quality footballer. Bruno is not turning 30 this season. No way is Bruno Fernandes turning 30 this season. He's 29! Wow, time flies. I thought he was 27. Yeah, he's turning 30 at the beginning of next season. I thought he was 27 still. I'm stuck in time. The sooner Erik Ten Hag drops Big Ron, No, Big Ron. Is this Dan James all over again? Defo Dan James. Nah. If you guys don't know, Big Ron loves Dan James. It's a long time thing, but Bruno, there's a reason he doesn't get dropped. I'll tell you that. Mount will ball out in his place. He has the minerals. Give it a couple years. Honestly, I'm not saying bench Mount for 2 years. I'm just saying if Bruno does start to ever so slightly decline, or give the manager a reason to, let me rest him this game because Mount's here, then yeah, cool. But right now, Bruno doesn't get dropped. He's been one of our best players recently. Did you know what? Along with Paul Pogba, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, I've never ever seen such a split on what people think of Bruno Fernandes. I love Bruno Fernandes because when I'm watching Manchester United play, I'm seeing the work he puts in. I don't care that he moans. I moan when I play football. I moan. If you give me a shit pass, I'm like, what are you doing? If the refs made a terrible decision, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm pissed off. I'm moaning. I'm trying to win, and this stuff is just getting in my way. The stuff that I can't control. But then at the same time, I'm putting in 110% effort. I'm making sure that when I win, lose or draw, when I go back into that changing room, I know that I've put in the effort I needed to on the pitch to make sure we get the best result possible. And if it doesn't go our way, then cool. But I think the way people make it out to be is like, oh, Bruno, I can't be bothered, man. He's just crying. He's whinging all the time. Oh, he's terrible. It's not like that, man. Bruno produces. Like, he just does produce. Bruno is class. Yes, MUFC lad. Mount is better than Bruno. Oh, that stinks. That stinks, enthusiast. Come on, man. Mount is not better than Bruno. Bruno can't play football. He loses the ball all the time. Bruno's best game was versus West Ham, where Bruno did not play his usual game. Bruno loses the ball because he's trying. I'd rather him lose the ball trying to put a ball through to our striker than just pass it sideways or pass it back. He creates the most chances. Do you know what? I will say this. Everybody's opinion would change on Bruno Fernandes if over the past 2 years we had a genuine striker or a couple of genuine attackers that could take a pass from Bruno and put it in the back of the net. Because instead of getting 6 or 7 assists like he did, I don't know, I can't remember how many he got last season, but it wasn't a lot. You have the assists, which isn't a lot, and then you have the chances created, which is a lot. And there's such a big gap between those. So all those percentages, it's like, I still don't really understand the XG and XA, the expected assist. There's just such a massive gap, so it looks weird. It looks like Bruno's just a hit and hope merchant, but he's not. We just don't have players who finish off the chances he creates, and I think the reason we're seeing over the past month or so, we've been seeing, Bruno Fernandes looks like he's playing a lot better. I don't think that's because of Bruno. I think that's because Garnacho's playing well, Højlund's playing well, Rashford is finding a bit of form, and we're putting away chances. So when Bruno's playing these balls through, and 30 seconds later, it's in the back of the net, he might not have got the assist, but Bruno played that ball through. That was sick. Whereas before it was, why is Bruno doing that? It's just nothing. Bruno's created the most chances in the league this season and last. Yeah, man. This facts are facts, innit? Zayn says, just to say it's Rooney Bardghji. Is it Bardghji or Bardghji? First or second pronunciation. Bardghji or Bardghji? I have a thing about pronouncing names right. I don't know why. Re-sign Dan James. I'm blocking Ron. Who do you want to sign? Who do you want us to sign as our next striker? Jonathan David. And I'm saying that because I have something here for you. Just in, Manchester United are targeting players who are entering the final year of their contracts this summer as part of the rebuild under Sir Jim Ratcliffe. United are exploring a number of deals ahead of the summer, with players such as Joshua Kimmich, Jonathan David, Kefren Turam, and Alphonso Davies, all set to be out of contract in 2025. This is what I want to see. I don't want these Wout Weghorst loan signings. I don't want these Igalo signings. We need to be looking at these sort of deals straight away because you get them cheaper, and these are quality players. Kefren Turam, very good player. Alphonso Davies, everybody knows who he is. I've wanted Jonathan David at Manchester United for about 3 years now. When he moved from Ghent to Lille, that's when I wanted him. And obviously Joshua Kimmich, you'd get him in. You just would. Apparently he's available for around 17 to 20 million. I think he'd be brilliant, but the only issue is Anthony is underperforming, but we will persist with him. If Rashford is going to leave, it has to be this summer because they will want to replace Mbappe straight away. Very, very good point. Otherwise, they'll go for Leao most likely. I think Leao goes to the Prem, to be honest. If Bruno created the most chances, how come Luton scored more prior to last weekend? Because we just could not put the ball in the back of the net. Our strikers... Yeah, MUFC because they just weren't. You got Rashford taking pot shots, toe punting it with his middle toe, just because he got the ball relatively close to the goal. That's not on Bruno. Bruno plays football like it's the 89th minute. That's not how you play football. Keep the ball, pass the move. But listen. One thing we don't know. None of us can say that we know unless we've spoken to Ten Hag off the record. We don't know that the tactic is to get the ball to Bruno, and just soon as Bruno gets the ball, Garnacho gone, Højlund gone, or dropping in to receive and play off or whatever. Bruno might be the trigger point for everybody. That's what I think, because it would only make sense. Because it's not a coincidence that every time he gets the ball, someone's sprinting. Whereas every time Manu might get the ball or Casemiro might get the ball, it's someone showing feet. It's Rashford coming to show feet, or it's Højlund coming to show feet. But when Bruno gets the ball, it's you're gone. Because they know Bruno's got it in his locker, man. I love Bruno. I don't want him to leave. With what gilt-edged chances has Bruno created in the last 4 or 5 games? I cannot remember. I'd have to rewatch, if I'm honest. But I know he has created chances. Didn't he get an assist? I think he might have got an assist in the last game, actually. Or it might be in Garnacho, I'm not sure. I haven't seen no one mention this, but Ten Hag has got... Whoa! I'm going to come back to that comment in a bit. We are doing better with chances because players are passing the ball to each other. No one remember greedy players shooting from silly angles. Rashford. Would like to. I'd definitely take two. I'll take all 4 of those players that we just mentioned, because what you have, if they're not starting 11, you're telling me we could bring off Jonathan David off the bench, or potentially Casemiro off the bench if Kimmich is starting, because one of them must get dropped. Casemiro's not playing next to Kimmich because you got Mainu. Not saying that Mainu is better than them, but I'd keep Mainu in the side. It's all about depth. It's all about having replacements ready. It's all about having 15, 16, 17 players ready to go operating at the highest level. Kefren Turam Madu, absolute must. Plus Turam should be easier due to our constant with Ratcliffe, similar to the Tabita deal. Oh yeah, he plays for Nice, innit? That is very true. But sorry. Okay, back to my news comment. Let me just get some water because I feel like I'm gonna have to talk for a bit. I haven't seen anyone mention this, but Ten Hag has got to go. Our defense is absolutely horrible. We can't control games, and our midfield is so open. One thing I will say to you right now: the last 3 games we've played, and also the fact that Onana has 7 clean sheets in the Prem, despite being the worst keeper in the league. Oh, Martinez came back in the side. Luke Shaw's back at left back. You got Varane at right centre back, and you've got Dalot at right back. You've got Mainu sitting next to Casemiro, just behind Bruno Fernandes in the midfield, with Onana in the goal. Over the last few games, we've had pretty much our first team side, and we've been good. I'm excited, but honestly, a month ago, Manchester United are coming on the TV in 10 minutes. I'm like, oh my god, like, am I even watching this? I might just put it on my phone. I'm watching it. It's not on the big screen though, because that's for something else. But now it's, when are Manchester United playing next? We're playing Aston Villa next. I'm excited. I genuinely believe, not anymore because Martinez is injured, that we could have gone to Villa Park and got a win. We beat them at Old Trafford, and I believed we could have gone to Villa Park and got the win. Martinez made such a huge difference, because what you have there is someone who can control the back four, who, like, as I said yesterday, he's a cog. He's the cog in the back four, and he needs to be there for everything to just go into motion. Pardon. He's good defensively, but also when he's on the ball, he can break that line. He can break the press. He's firing balls into the midfield, firing balls into the wings, anywhere. He is one of the most important players. He might not be the best player on the team, but he's definitely top 2, top 3 most important players in our team. And we've just been ravaged with injuries this season. Ten Hag has definitely not got to go. But I do have a question for you, Mainu, enthusiast. Do you think Arsenal are challenging for the title this season? Literally, yes or no. Do you think Arsenal are challenging for the Premier League title this season? That is only for Mainu, by the way. Only for Mainu, because I just want to find something out. I would take Big Sam over Erik ten Hag. No way. No way are you taking Big Sam. We keep 1 clean sheet in the last game and fans get giddy. It's not. I don't think it's about keeping the clean sheet. I think it's about just genuinely being able to win matches and look like you're going to win and play decent football and play exciting football. We're scoring goals. Like, we're scoring a lot of goals. And that's one thing that we weren't doing before. The one thing about Manchester United is I think a lot of people get a bit lost when it comes to this. I cannot remember a season past Sir Alex where we genuinely scored, maybe like 1, maybe 2 seasons, where we just scored goal after goal after goal every single game. Can't remember one. This revelation about, Manchester United don't score goals, it's not new. We haven't been scoring goals. I think we've always had a relatively good defence. yes, it's been a bit shaky recently over the past couple of years, but that's one thing we've always been quite decent at. Even when Sir Alex left, as I said, we had Smalling and Blint keeping up a very good defensive record in the Premier League, and then season after season after season we've had good defensive records, maybe apart from one or two, but at the same time that goal difference, that GD has never been really high. It's never been a Man City, it's never been an Arsenal or Liverpool or Chelsea. We just haven't been scoring a lot of goals. And Manu's, to respond to my question, Manu says no, I don't think so. Well, I hate to break it to you, they are in the title race. They are firmly in the title race. And you know what? This is Arteta's 4th season. One of my friends is an Arsenal fan, and he's an unbearable Arsenal fan. But one thing I will always say to him is, one, I believe Ten Hag has a better, higher ceiling as a manager. He's demonstrated it. He's won trophies. And I'm not talking about just winning the FA Cup with the previous manager squad that he took over very recently back then. I'm talking about Ten Hag had the Ajax job, dominated the Netherlands. And I know you're going to say, oh, it's only the Eredivisie, but what, is he going to play against City and Arsenal every week in Holland? No, he's going to play against Dutch teams, and he's going to have to win who he comes up against. And he did. He dominated the league after league, trophy after trophy. And it wasn't just in the Netherlands either. It was a continental display. It was last minute exit from the Champions League semi-final. He comes to England, takes Manchester United to 3rd in his first season, and wins the Carabao Cup. Yes, last season, I think it might have been a bit of a one-off in terms of our squad. Definitely compared to this season, we can't go a game without getting an injury. Last season, we could play the same team for ages. And I think if we're able to... It's not if we're able to. When we're able to field our full strength side, we can beat anyone, because we did it last season. Nobody can tell me, oh, you're just saying that because blah blah blah. No, we did it, and he's displayed it. This is Erik ten Hag's 2nd season. He's probably 18 months in, around that, to his role. 3rd place and a trophy in his 1st season. This season, yeah, cool, we're out of Europe. Name me one other manager that has come into a side and had to go through what Erik ten Hag has gone through in terms of injuries, off the pitch scandals, in club, in house, ownership, staff members, board, everything that he has to go through, and you expect him to just go onto the pitch and be like, yeah, cool, with 5-6 players that he doesn't even want, that aren't good enough, and he actively tried to get rid of. It's different. Erik, I'll answer that in a sec because I'm on both sides. But Arteta's in his 4th season, and my friend was saying Arteta's better than Ten Hag. I said, no, he's not. What has he won? What has Arteta won for Arsenal? That as I said, he won the FA Cup, but that wasn't his team. He's gone and taken over a job probably like the day before and just gone out with that Arsenal team. New manager bounce, he's doing all of that. Yes, a trophy is a trophy. Congratulations to Arsenal, and congratulations to Mikel Arteta for winning that. But that is very different to the way Erik ten Hag won the Carabao Cup. That was his team, some of his signings, and a whole season of work to get to where he was. As I said, this is Arteta's 4th season. And it's his 4th season because they didn't fire him. They didn't sack him after 2 8th place finishes in a row. Erik ten Hag finished 3rd. We're a few points off top 4. We're just over halfway through the season. I think people need to relax a little bit. In this summer, if we keep Ten Hag and we invest, and yeah, next season is a shit show. If we're finishing, if we don't qualify for Europe, if we don't get to the latter stages of the FA Cup or something like that, then yeah, cool. Maybe, yeah, Erik ten Hag has to go, but definitely not now. 100% not now. Way too soon. Ollie had a season with that away record. We were banging goals and doing comebacks. Yeah, Ollie, that season, if we're talking about the lockdown season, I think has to have an asterisk in 95 font, bold writing, and italics also underlined. It makes such a difference. Doesn't take away from what we did in terms of the wins. Yeah, wins a win, goals a goal. But I count that season as one of the seasons. Yeah, we scored a lot of goals, but I think in the end it just didn't work out for Ollie, honestly. I'm still gonna go back to that Sancho question, Big Ron. So wait on that. All Erik ten Hag for it. All ETH is good for is falling out with his own players. You think Ten Hag can inspire players like Pep and Klopp. You ever heard Ten Hag speak? I don't need to hear Ten Hag speak. You can tell he's an introvert. Klopp is my worst nightmare. Pep is not so much my worst nightmare. Not in terms of football, but I couldn't hang out with Klopp. He doesn't stop. He doesn't shut up. He doesn't shut up. I cannot deal with that. I can't do or handle people that just need to have their mouth open all the time. Like, why does there always need to be noise coming out of your mouth? And that is Klopp for me. That's probably why it might seem like he inspires his players more. Pep is just Pep. Like, he's one of the best, but he's also involved in like every scandal possible. And I do you know what? I like Ten Hag because he's more reserved. He's doing all of this. He can tell he just doesn't take shit. He honestly just doesn't take shit. And I like it. And we need it before. No, do you know what? Yeah. I still haven't forgotten about the Sancho question, and I will. This is a very, very. Sorry, I'm so low. You know. Let me just put my chair up. This is a very good segue into that question about Sancho and Ten Hag. Yes, Erik Ten Hag made the mistake, but do you think Sir Alex Ferguson would ever let someone post on social media going directly against what he said, or allegedly going against what he said? Sir Alex Ferguson was not Klopp. Sir Alex Ferguson was not Pep Guardiola. Sir Alex Ferguson was one of one. I think Erik Ten Hag is unique in the sense his character. He's very introverted. He's strict. He doesn't care what you think. If you've come out of line, you will get punished, or you will get disciplined, or the necessary action will be taken against you. I think it's not his fault if someone does something wrong. He then says, "This is your punishment." If they start crying, I still haven't spoken about Sancho yet, but I don't think it's falling out with his own players. We know full well that a lot of the players at Manchester United are just divas and prima donnas. Like, it annoys me. If I went into that changing room, I would love to be a fly on the wall in that changing room, just so I knew, because I still don't fully know, just so I knew who these little kids are, these bitches. Like, it's just annoying. I've got love for Erik Ten Hag, and I think he's doing the right stuff. As I said, it's not his fault if a player doesn't like him, because he actually brought them up on their bullshit when previous managers didn't. Stefan says, Ten Hag disrespect and hate is so unjustified and reactionary. Even manager has had seasons where they performed better than others. He's still relatively new to the role as well as outside factors. I agree. Excuses FC, change man its name to Erik. ET has... Why am I struggling so much? There's so many syllables, guys. Gosh. More vowels, please. Excuses FC. Change man. Oh. No, it's you, Big Ron. It's you. No grammar in your flipping sentences. Excuses FC. Change man. Its name. Wait. That's a typo. That's why it's bugging me out. Change Man United's name to Erik Ten Hag. Excuses FC. Sorry, guys. Ten Hag will be gone by the summer anyway. Yeah, in 2028. New owners always want a new manager. Who could we get in? I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, let me focus this. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I like managers with longevity. I like managers that are opposed to chopping and changing every 2 years. Maybe that's because I grew up supporting Manchester United with one manager. But I think unless your name is Chelsea under Abramovich, changing manager every season or every 2 seasons doesn't work. Thomas Tuchel has never been a manager that stays in a club for more than a couple seasons. And all I think about when we're linked to, he's a very good coach. Don't get me wrong, he's a great coach. I love Tuchel. I love the way he plays. He won the Champions League with Chelsea. Or how did you do that? He done it. But all I can think about when we're linked to these managers is, who are we going to be linked to in 2 years? Who are we going to be linked to in 3 years? I'd rather build something, build a dynasty, build a proper club with Erik Ten Hag at the helm, because he's a very good manager, and we all know. Listen, if you say Ten Hag is not a good manager, I think that's just ignorance. He's a very good manager. If you can't see it, then I don't know. Sir Alex wouldn't let him back into character if Jadon did that under Sir Alex. Okay, back to the Sancho thing. I agree with Ten Hag because he was asked a direct question about Sancho. Can't remember what the thing said. I think the journalist was like, why isn't Sancho in the team? Was there a reason that he wasn't even in the squad? And Ten Hag answered, honestly, as a manager who's been taking the sessions all week, from his point of view, he didn't think Sancho deserved to start. Cool, because that's what he said. He just didn't train hard enough. That's fine. Managers do it all the time. Managers say this about players all the time. Ten Hag's done nothing wrong there. And for the people on Twitter, bozos that are saying, oh, Ten Hag didn't have to come public, he started it. Donuts. So all of these little... if it starts beef, I don't care, because I'll slap anybody up. When these guys are on Twitter, all these the Planet Faz. Wait, I need to ask if I can even mention names. People like Planet Faz, Bum, Saeed. I actually like Saeed, but I just didn't agree with him. Those two in particular saying that it was Erik Ten Hag's fault. What? So what about the guy who's gone to university and had 20 years of experience in his job asking Erik Ten Hag a question that he's probably asked about 7 or 8 times in the last week to different managers? It's not his fault. He's doing his job and Erik Ten Hag's doing his job. So that's one thing. Nothing wrong was done there. What I think was wrong was Jadon Sancho. However, I also think it was right. Jadon Sancho's from South London, bruv. I'm from South London, bruv. I understand how the minds of the people work here. I was the same way growing up. If someone tells me, if someone tells me about me that I don't agree with, you think I'm just gonna sit there and be like, okay? No, I'm gonna be like, what? Who are you talking to? But then again, that's the thing I think is right about what Jadon Sancho did. What I think was wrong is going public, is typing it on Twitter and then not deleting it. Because at first, I think I even said it on here. I backed Sancho because I said I don't think it's aimed at Ten Hag. I think it's aimed at like the media, because I can't remember the post exactly, but it was talking about all the accusations and lies that get like said about him. Because of, you know, the plural, I don't know how good his understanding of the English language is, if it's superior to mine or if it's inferior to mine, but the punctuation, the grammar, the amount, the plurals on certain words that he used made it, I read it as he's obviously talking about multiple people, multiple sources, or loads of different things. If he said lie instead of lies, I'll be like, oh, he's talking about Ten Hag. But regard, I'm getting a bit off track. I think that Erik Ten Hag was completely justified in what he did. I also think that Jadon Sancho was completely justified in what he did. What I think was wrong was the fact that he didn't delete it when Erik Ten Hag asked. That's where I think everything just went wrong. Oh, sorry. Spoke for ages. Ron, he isn't going to have that influence this summer. The sporting director and Barada will decide on the signings with the manager. Sir Alex wouldn't let him back into character, and if Jadon did that under Sir Alex, mate, Saf let Cantona do what he wanted. Lol, Cantona Kung Fu kicked a fan. Genuine assault. I'd bring him back. Rio missed a drugs test. Saf didn't give a fudge. We don't swear on this fucking channel, mate. Erik has previous managers. Oh, see, this is what I mean. Listen, you lot in the comments here. Punctuation is important because I don't know what's going on. Erik has previous managers mess. Martial leaving in the summer. We can love a decent striker. Yeah, Martial's gone. I forgot. To be honest, I actually forgot he was here. Johnny Evans was accused of doing a Mason Greenwood annex. Swear down. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. I'm going to read more into that because I didn't know that. Yes, I am back bath time. I mean, Barada might think of the Michel at Girona. We need to stick with one project. Chelsea had 3 managers last season, not healthy. Exactly. Ronnie Dodge, I agree with Ronnie Dodge here. We just have to stick with one manager. Remember as well, I know this isn't the 80s or whatever. We live in a very different time. Media exists. Online abuse exists. TV and all of this stuff is very prominent in the world of football. But Sir Alex Ferguson didn't do bits when he first came in. It took time. He had to build the foundations. He had to do stuff first. And then, obviously, we reap the rewards. And he went on to be the best manager ever. Why is it all of a sudden Ten Hag has a few crap months and get him out? Come on, man. Come on. No one better than Ten Hag is available, correct? Plus, we should actually attempt to back a manager for once and maybe we will actually get some results as opposed to chopping and changing constantly. And that goes up to the board. That goes up to the signings. Mourinho said it. He gives a list of players. Number 1 onwards. We need to get number 1. We need to get number 2 at worst. We can't go and get number 7. Wout Weghorst was probably number 18 or number 20 because it isn't just 5 or 6 players that these teams... There is a list, like a big list of players that get targeted because there's hundreds of thousands of players that you can get in a certain position in a certain country at any given time in a transfer window. There's not just going to be 6 or 7 players. There's going to be like 20 or 30. Name is Shane Anton. Planet Faz is a bum, bro. I don't like him. And if anything, I want him to see this. You're a bum. I just want to ask, is that a good thing that we buy players on their last year? I don't think it makes a difference when you buy them. It's Alphonso Davies. It's Joshua Kimmich. Why would you choose to wait? I mean, I can see. Okay, I see where you're coming from. I understand the question a bit better now because I'm guessing you're going to be saying, "Oh, why not just wait a year? We get him for free," because he'll probably go somewhere else. I'd get him with a year left. You get him for cheap, and it's Kimmich. It's Alphonso Davies. It's Jonathan David. It's Thuram. Like these aren't bums. Like these are actually good players. And it would be a massive benefit to everybody at Manchester United if they were here playing for us. So, yeah, I think it would be a good idea to buy players in the last year of their contract. What's your thoughts on a new stadium? Don't knock it down. Don't build a new one. Renovate. To build on what we have already. That's what we've always done. That's what Manchester United is. I said Old Trafford is Manchester United and renovation is the way forward. But if you guys have any more questions, do you know what? Yeah, one thing I haven't said this episode is, if you guys haven't already, make sure you do leave a like on the video as well as hit that subscribe button. Make sure you press that bell so you do get notified when we go live. Make sure you follow at MUFC MPB over on YouTube. Make sure you follow over on YouTube, over on X, as well as myself, Anil, and Aaron. All of our X links will be in the description down below, as well as obviously MUFC MPB. It keeps you up to date with all of the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, with reliable sources, good, credible information. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button as well. It helps with the algorithm and all of that good jazz. I would try and get Tonio Vlahovic from Juventus in the summer. I love Dusan Vlahovic. Zidane to MU. I know you're not talking about Zinedine Zidane to Manchester United because that's not going to happen. How many monitors do you have? I can say. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, and there's a brim. Be interesting what striker we go for in the summer, especially with Haaland now cooking. I say you go for Vlahovic. I just say you do it. I want Vlahovic. I love Vlahovic. My friend's a Chelsea fan and he is addicted to Vlahovic. He's trying to get him at Chelsea. But yes, we are coming to the end of this stream. As I said before, if you guys haven't already, make sure you do hit that like button. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. We'll be back tomorrow. I think it's going to be Anil tomorrow with a stream, with a video for you guys. I'm not going to be back until Friday, so you won't be seeing my face for a couple of days. Boohoo, cry your eyes out. I know it's terrible. But yeah, make sure you do hit... and with all the monitors... you can't see Erik ten Hag is going to go. Nah, man. Cheeky. He's not going anywhere, mate. But yeah, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. Wow, that flew by. If Sir Jim does well, can we say Chelsea are the new us under the Glazer? Yeah, Chelsea are washed. But that is for another discussion at another time. Bun you, Planet Faz. I will see you guys on Friday. And I hope you have a good night. I'm about to go to the gym.